May all living beings be healthy and live with a body that gives them energy. May all living beings be safe and be free from all sorts of inner and outer harm. Mm-mm-mm. That feels good. Today we are talking about self-regulation and the hypothalamus and the strength of tapping into that brain, part of the brain that regulates your whole nervous system, the hypothalamus. And I want us to listen to the body, because when you listen to the body, that is the control unit, that is the hypothalamus tuning in to what's going on. You know, as much as we have this wonderful nervous system that is in love with us, that helps us to self-regulate, helping it to self-regulate is also, you know, something that we could help our nervous system to do. And understanding what part of our brain does this is so important, the hypothalamus. So let me get ready, bring my props. Today I'm gonna try. When I started learning about the brain, I started buying, you know, structures of the brain. Oopsie, wait, don't go far away. Ooh, our beautiful brain, our wonderful, wonderful brain. Things falling. Oh, darling, it keeps falling. Hi, Ron, Ron. I'm not going nowhere. On this planet that God put me on here, only person that can stop me from going anywhere and being anywhere is God. I am not going nowhere, yeah. This beauty, this health I've been blessed with, I woke up today healthy. Today I'm using the brain, the structure of the brain, to explain how we can self-regulate. Everybody, nobody gets out of this existence in this body, but there is life after death. My soul never dies. You know, my soul is eternal. So my soul is eternal. Nobody comes into this existence and lives with the body. The body is just a gift to enjoy everything. My body is a gift so that I can enjoy beautiful things. I can enjoy eating. I can enjoy beautiful clothes. I can enjoy looking beautiful. I can enjoy fresh air. I can enjoy going climbing a mountain. This existence is for me to enjoy. Once I'm done enjoying, God will tell me, okay, let me even take you to a better place. That is how I see it. After I'm done enjoying this life, God will tell me, come here, my darling. Let me show you things you have never seen, things you have never felt. You know, I'm going to release you from this body so that you can enjoy everything. But as long as I am here, as long as I am here, I am enjoying my life. Okay? As long as I am in this body, I will look beautiful. I will eat nice, healthy food. I will have friends. I will climb the Kilimanjaro. Can't tell me nothing. You cannot tell me nothing about it. Today, though, I wanted us to talk about the hypothalamus. And because if you're going through post-traumatic stress, you need to know about the role the hypothalamus plays in your mental health. A lot of people talk about, you know, stress. But really what they really need to start thinking about is the hypothalamus. So I want us to talk about the hypothalamus today, because it's one thing to have a good mindset, but it's another thing to understand actually the part of the body that regulates mental health. The hypothalamus, it controls your sleep. It controls whether you're hungry or you're not. You know, when you feel stressed out, it also controls you, bringing you back from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic nervous system. So it resets your nervous system back to balance. So you want to understand this part of the brain, because if you understand your hypothalamus and why, you know, things like meditation are good, then you will start seeing like you can have a better understanding. Let me get a photo. So we are talking about thirst, temperature, hunger, and it also controls the pituitary gland. So, you know, thirst, hunger, you know, sleep, homeostasis, emotional activity. We are talking about your nervous system. And that is why it's really important. So let's go up to the images. So if the brain is cut into different parts, that is the hypothalamus over there. That's where the hypothalamus is. And you can see that it is connected to this little like bag here, this little bag. That is the pituitary gland. And the pituitary gland controls all of the hormones in your body. So when we talk about how close the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland is, think about this when it comes to mental health as a big thing, like big, big, big. Let's talk about the work of the hypothalamus, because if you're living in stress or in constant stress, like chronic stress, you need to understand the role this hypothalamus plays in your health so that you can learn how to regulate it. You will see that most of the times when you are stressed, what is affected? Your sleep is affected. What else is affected? Your eating habits are affected. What else is affected? Your high blood pressure is affected because the heart is always beating at a high rate. Other things that you need when to maintain good balance, like out of stress, you need, it affects the hypothalamus, regulates your thirst. So when you're feeling thirsty, it's because the hypothalamus is sending signals to you that you need to take water. So imagine if the body was not able to regulate itself. Imagine if you are not able to sleep well because of stress. Imagine if you're not eating well, maybe you're overeating or undereating. It means there is something with the regulation and self-regulation of the body. And what part of the brain does that? The control unit is the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is the CEO of your brain. It tells other parts of the brain what to do, like she needs to get more water, or he needs to go to sleep. He needs to cool down. If you probably have a high temperature or you're too cold, you need to get more sweaters. You need to do this. It's the hypothalamus sending those signals and commanding the body to do what it needs to do now. If the hypothalamus is out of sync, is not doing its job, you need to pay attention, because that can lead to chronic stress. And we've talked about chronic stress. It can lead to high blood pressure, because if you keep pumping your blood at a higher rate, it means that the hypothalamus is telling your body, this person is under stress. So the hypothalamus is not putting you back to homeostasis. And it could be small things. Maybe you just had an argument with your boss, or you don't like your job, or something like that. And that part of your body that's out of sync is telling the hypothalamus is reading that as danger. And if it reads that as danger, it's going to signal to the rest of the body to pump in more stress chemicals into your bloodstream, like adrenaline and cortisol, and you start having, the blood pumping at a higher rate. You're not able to digest food. You're not able to sleep. So the signal is coming from the hypothalamus that is keeping you in stress mode and stress response. And this is what a lot of people need to know, that the signal is happening in the hypothalamus. So how do you signal to the hypothalamus, like, hey, I am not in stress mode, I am okay? You try to move in step with the hypothalamus. So if you want the hypothalamus to send a signal to the rest of your body that you're not stressed out, so that it can relax and reset your nervous system, you do things like meditation. Because when you're calming down, you're telling the hypothalamus, I have even time to sit down and relax and think about what is happening in my body. And what does that tell the nervous system? What does that tell the hypothalamus? Like, oh, I need to chill. I need to relax, because this person is sending me. You're talking to your brain when you meditate. You're actively sending signal to your hypothalamus, your control unit, when you meditate, and you're telling the hypothalamus, I am chill now. let's let's cool the system. So you need to learn the language that the hypothalamus uses to regulate your body, because the hypothalamus is regulating your sleep, it's regulating your temperature, it's regulating your thirst, your hunger, your homeostasis. Every part of your body, your heart rate is being regulated by the hypothalamus. So you need to know that you can speak to the hypothalamus. And think about eating good foods. Like the brain likes fatty foods, like good fatty meats is good for the hypothalamus. Think about eating that, so that you can tell the hypothalamus, hey, I am not starving, I am not in starvation mode, we have plenty of fatty nice things to eat, relax. Okay, it's a party here, just relax, right? When you do those things, you tell the hypothalamus to calm down. You're now starting to speak the language of the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus likes magnesium. A lot of people wonder, oh, why are they recommending when you're stressed out to take magnesium? Because the hypothalamus loves magnesium. If you give the hypothalamus magnesium, it will say, oh, wait, this person is calm. So let me regulate myself. You're talking about the hypothalamus. This is the part of your brain that regulates you. This part of the brain is the CEO of your brain. It tells every other parts of the brain, especially the pituitary gland, which controls all the hormones in your body. It tells them how to behave. It gives them signals about what is happening in your entire body. So if you are in chronic stress, and this is what I want everybody to understand, if you've been through childhood trauma, if you've been through chronic stress, and they have done studies, and they looked at kids who were in war-torn countries, like child soldiers, because these kids from a very young age, they are in constant stress mode. They are fighting and fighting for their lives. They realized that there was a shrinking in the hypothalamus. Like it actually became smaller because they were constantly in stress mode. And what that means is that when the hypothalamus is small, these people are not able to regulate themselves. It means the body is not able to move them from survival mode to homeostasis, to balance. So because the body changes according to the environment. So when you're in constant stress, the body will reduce the part of the brain that puts you back to homeostasis, because it realizes for you to survive the stress, the last thing that it should do, remember the body is your best friend. It tells the brain, the last thing this person is in stress mode needs to do is to go back to balance. And so if it realizes that your environment is not going to change, it makes the hypothalamus smaller, so you're not able to regulate your body. You're just reacting and reacting and reacting and reacting. They did studies that these kids that were child soldiers, they could not even be able to understand emotions of people when they were smiling or happy, because those were not the emotions that they had in their environment. But they were able to accurately assess whether somebody was mean, was angry. Like they were able to assess danger very quickly, more than I would, but they were not able to recognize happy emotions because the hypothalamus had locked them out of that part of the brain that is responsible for positive emotions, for more relaxations, for more balance. That is why it is very important to train your hypothalamus to be happy, to be gay, to be merry, because you can lock your because if you're constantly used to stress, you can lock your nervous system into survival mode without knowing, just by accident. And because the body will adjust even your body, like your physical features, they will adapt to your environment. You know, if you've seen people who've been in like struggling relationships for a long time, you see it in their faces. Hi, Jose. Welcome, welcome. So this is why it's important to understand this part of the brain called the hypothalamus. Now it controls when your sleeping cycle, when you wake up in the morning and when you go to bed. That's why it's important when you wake up during sunrise. It's nice to just show the body that you're enjoying the morning sun. You know, singing can help you regulate your nervous system and your hypothalamus, because it makes it realize like you're in a happy mood. It sends happy it sends out happy hormones into your nervous system, so you feel blissful, you feel happy. The sunlight in the morning is very, very good for the hypothalamus. It makes you happy in the morning. So you want to enjoy that morning sun when you wake up. You want to enjoy that, morning glory, because it's good for your nervous system. It's good for the hypothalamus. These are things that, when you understand the brain, you know, understanding the brain is the key to unlock your nervous system. I always say, if you want to understand happiness and joy, you must understand the brain and the nervous system. The brain is part of the primary nervous system, and the spine is also part of the primary nervous system. Then we have the peripheral nervous system, that helps us, feel cold, touch, love. You always want to think in terms of like opposite. Like if a hug is good, if I give you a warm hug, what am I sending to your nervous system? I'm sending signals of love and safety, right? But if I slap you or punch you, what am I sending to your nervous system? That you had better fight me or run away, right? That is survival. We want to train the nervous system to be in happiness, in parasympathetic nervous system, to start with homeostasis, to start with a good balance. The key to understanding mental health is just right there, what I have said. Balance, homeostasis, starting from a safe place. If your nervous system is in an environment where you're being criticized, you're being constantly put down, you're beaten, somebody is shouting at you, just think about what it's doing to your senses. When somebody screams at you or calls you out of your name, what signal does that send to your automatic nervous system, the hypothalamus? Because the body doesn't care what you think. It will take in the energy and it will react to that energy. Remember, your body is your best friend, and it never ever is going to compromise you. Unless you decide to compromise yourself, your body cannot compromise you, because your body is supposed to be your best friend. Your nervous system reacts to danger or perceived threats whether or not you want to pretend you're not there or not. Let's say you're in a board meeting and somebody says something insulting to you. Your nervous system will react to that insult. You may secretly want to hold back that you're not feeling anything, but oftentimes your body is going to betray you. Your body is going to show you sweating, it will show you angry, you might even start shaking a little bit or even go quiet. Why? Because your nervous system is reacting and you're trying to actively stop it, but the body doesn't lie. It will react. It's automatic. This part of our brain that's automatic, we don't really have a control of it unless we put our nervous system in an environment where it will naturally get the chemicals that it will read positive energy, and then automatically it creates positive energy. I hope that makes sense. What I'm saying is that your nervous system will react to your environment automatically no matter what. So if you decide to control your environment, is you're putting your body and your nervous system in a positive environment, it will just feed off that good energy and it's going to react positively. But if it's in a negative environment, it will not react, like you can't, your nervous system will not make you want to feel like laughing when somebody is insulting you. Your nervous system cannot lie to you in that way. It will react with disdain when somebody insults you. That's how it acts. It's never going to like behave opposite, you know so what you do is you work with it, because you know that it's going to react positively in a positive environment. Then you create and nourish a positive environment so that your nervous system feels supported, and then it sends nice signals to your hypothalamus, and the hypothalamus sends nourishing signals to the pituitary gland, and the pituitary gland will produce hormones that make you even happy and joyful and relaxed, because that's how you regulate it. uh, it doesn't matter how much. Even if I tell you, oh, take magnesium because it's good for the hypothalamus, but if you're in a negative relationship where you're constantly being belittled, that will also send signals to your nervous system that says this is not a safe place, and it will put you in survival mode. So you will not be able to self-regulate very well. So yes, I'm saying it's good to understand the brain. It's good to understand the hypothalamus, the control unit of your brain. It's regulating everything in your nervous system. But as much as I want you to feed the brain the right foods, I also want you to feed the brain the right environment for the brain to grow, for the nervous system, for the hypothalamus to feel safe, so that it can release the right chemicals that can make you sleep better, that can make you, eat in a well-regulated manner, that can help you regulate your temperature better. All these things. All those things. All those things. Let me take a break. I understand when people go on a commercial break, because sometimes when you're live, you can tend to talk, like talk. So let's look at the foods that are good for the hypothalamus. Omega-3 fatty acids, obviously, like this has always been talked about. We're talking about salmon, walnuts, chia seeds. you know Berries can also be good because they have polyphenols, which are good. Tea, vegetables, avocado, olive oils are also good. So you want to avoid sugars. And if you think about the American diet, that is everything that you want to avoid. Everything that you want to avoid. Hi, Eric, my love. Yeah, those are the things that we want to avoid, because obviously the hypothalamus likes fatty acids, so fatty meats. And if you can eat these at night when you're going to sleep, like fats, like fatty things, good for your brain, because your brain is repairing itself at night. So fatty foods are very good for your brain. Remember, you want the brain to have what it is, because then the hypothalamus needs to regulate your body. Another thing is this: Your hypothalamus has direct information from your gut, so there is no brain blood barrier between what you eat and the hypothalamus. And this is very important to get, because sometimes you go out there, you're stressed out, and you eat something terrible for your brain. Your hypothalamus exactly knows immediately that it's bad for your brain, and then it puts you in a stress mode. That is why, some people will eat something immediately and then they're in a bad mood, because the hypothalamus has that information. It has that signal immediately that you eat something terrible. Your hypothalamus knows, and it's going to put you in a stress mode. So avoiding, things like bread, artificial sugars, this is no longer a flex. Like, obviously these foods obviously cause cancer, but they are also very bad for your brain, because this is the reason that these foods cause cancer. Remember, cancer is caused by energy just clumping up to one place. We all have this Shi energy that is in the planet, that is everywhere. So when you have cancer, there is no moving of the Shi energy. So you just have like the yang. You don't have the yin and the yang. So it's just one energy there. Now, why is that happening? Why is your nervous system not able to move energy the way that your nervous system is able to move energy? Because we are a system of energy. It's because it's disorganized, or it's because it's getting the wrong information. One way that the nervous system will get the wrong information, not act the way it's going to act, confuse the body, and the body ends up getting disorganized and creating cancer in the body, is because it's getting the wrong signals. It's getting the wrong signal. So why would your body be getting the wrong signal? Because you're eating the wrong foods, you're eating artificial sugar, and you're giving your body the wrong signal. Everything is related. Remember, we come from the earth. Everything we are talking about, the sun, the plants, the soil, we are all related. We are all one thing. So when your nervous system is out of order, is because you are causing it to be out of order. You're eating the wrong thing, or you're under stress. You're under chronic stress, and now you're overworking your nervous system, and it's causing fatigue. If you constantly have a high heartbeat, your heart is beating fast and fast and fast, is because you're under stress. And the only way to regulate that is to calm down to a different level. You gotta do different things, like meditate, like prayer, like worship, like, singing, dancing. Good evening, Big Zeros 770. I don't know how you say your name. Yep. So anyway, those were the things that I wanted us to talk about, the nervous system, because understanding how the hypothalamus works is going to help you manage your stress. It's going to help you. Knowledge is power, in the way that, at least you can take positive action. When I was going through my own, healing journey from stress, from chronic stress, there was like zero information about telling people who have been through trauma and stress is that trauma is just stress. Trauma is just chronic stress that has taken over decades to accumulate. And when you understand how the body deals with stress, how the nervous system reacts to stress, you can help your body regulate and reset. So healing really comes from the reset. Being so the big thing is to understand how the reset looks like. A lot of people with chronic stress and post-traumatic stress, they don't understand how the body is when the body is not stressed out. You know, we don't know how the body is when the body is not stressed out. And so the things that we talk about are the things that is going to help your body understand what the reset is about. I mean, I can tell you every day, all day, about how meditation has helped me, but it really takes you to do the meditation yourself to understand how it is resetting your nervous system from a place of stress to homeostasis. And when you have a taste of that, then you can train your body, because now you can understand, you can start growing new neural connections for balance, for calm, than the ones that you have been used to. It really just takes that knowledge and to put it into practice, because I can tell you all day to eat, you know, pumpkin seeds because they have magnesium, and magnesium keeps your brain calm, or go eat fatty foods because they are good for your brain. But it's only you having that experience can actually understand it, because you understand things with your body. So you just sometimes have got to trust the process. It is just the way things are sometimes. You just have to trust the process that, hey, actually it might work out for me if I do these things. They have been proven. The good thing about science is that we are not telling you like shady things. Let me move. You know, the good thing about science is we are not telling you shady things. These are actually things that people have tested out and that work. So I'm a big advocate for people who are going through trauma and post-traumatic stress, because for me, the stress of losing my parents at the age of 6 was like the trauma that you never see coming, because first of all, you're young, you don't know what's ahead of you. Now you're in this life and it looks more like a war zone, and you're constantly reacting, you're constantly nervous, you can't eat food, you bloat. All these things are happening until I started to realize, like, I really have to regulate my nervous system. These days I don't eat, I don't eat much, like a lot of food, because I've come to understand that my nervous system gets bloated because of my anxiety. When I eat food, it never really gets digested very well. So I bloat more than other people. And that is just a sign of my hypothalamus is putting me in stress response more than I think. Now, I understand this, and I understand that my stress can become chronic if I don't manage it. A lot of people don't understand that when you're coming from chronic trauma, chronic like post-traumatic stress, your nervous system does not just adjust itself. I know, like, there are gurus out there that tell you like your nervous system will just adjust itself. No, you will have to learn how to adjust your nervous system. You will have to learn, like, you cannot eat like 3 meals a day like other people do without getting your stomach upset. So you will have to learn to self-regulate and eat maybe once a day, so that you don't get bloated and you don't get an upset stomach, because your nervous system is not sending a lot of blood there. it is not putting a lot of resources on every day to your digestion. It is constantly trying to put out fires. Part of the reason why I did not have kids is because I understood, I have post-traumatic stress, and that stress gets passed on from mother to a young one. And when I looked up my life and I was like, I don't have support system, you know, uh, my biggest support system is my job, basically. That is not enough to raise a child, just having a job. So I understood, like, that would be me passing more stress to another young one. So I was like, I don't think kids work for me. They just will not work out for me, because I would put myself under more stress and I would put my young one under more stress. But it's really understanding your life, what you can handle and what you cannot handle. So for me, I understood, like, to be a good parent sometimes is choosing not to have kids. Because you cannot provide them the environment that they need to be a good parent. Like, if my sole support system is my job, that just means I cannot have a kid, because I'll be at work trying to provide for the kid. And then when I'm there, who is being with them? They're probably lonely, worried, dysregulated nervous system. Like, and I was like, no, other kids have grandparents, they have aunties, they have uncles, they have friendly neighbors, So I was like, no, it's not gonna work out for me. But it's because I understand mental health and I understand how the nervous system works, the wiring of it, that it requires a nurturing, good environment, safe environment. And if you don't have that for yourself, you very much so don't have that one for your kids. But I don't see a lot of people making those informed decisions. It just doesn't happen these days. So that's that. You tell me what you think. You tell me what you think about that. You tell me what you think about that. I mean, I said a lot, about the brain, the nervous system, the hypothalamus. And I just hope that this video, whatever I do, I just hope that I have inspired you to think more about the brain, and how your brain is affecting your mental health. Because you never know how this thing you call the brain, how important it is to just understand different parts of the brain and what they do. You see, like, this brain is color coded. Different parts of this color show you what the brain does. And it's important to know, like, this part is responsible for speech, for hearing, or for sight, for sight. you know um, there are people who get hit in the back of the head and they lose their sight forever, because it hit a part of their brain that's responsible for sight. It's really brilliant to understand the brain. and understand the states of your consciousness and how you can move your vibration from low vibration to high vibration. If you don't understand this, you're going to listen to a lot of nonsense from people. So, well, thanks again for tuning in today. Love you, love you. I hope. And, see you another day.